What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Honest Tattooer Podcast. My name is John Mesa, and I'm joined by Matt Truiano.
Hey, how you doing?
G Money.
What's up, guys?
Matt Buck is back.
Hey.
And our very special guest, Michelle Myles. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you for coming, and especially in a very short notice. We just literally spoke yesterday, and I asked you if there's any way you could make it today, and you did.
No time like the present.
Yes.
That's right.
Man, today's been a wild day.
It's been a crazy day.
Today's been a crazy day in the Lower East Side. So I'll tell you guys, so our tattoo shop is in the bottom level of an apartment building. And one of the apartments above us had a broken pipe leak, and it's been raining literally inside the shop in the middle of our top floor, which has been crazy. On top of that, the building next to us had a fire.
It caught a blaze.
Yep. And then a few blocks away, 2 cops got shot.
Oh, really? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
A few blocks away, 2 cops got shot.
Damn.
Because there was a robbery. They chased after the guy, and then the guy shot back at them.
Holy hell.
One shot, one bullet hit both
both of
cops.
them?
Both of them.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Which is crazy.
Another
What
wild
street was
day.
that on?
It was on Eldridge.
God damn.
So that was
During the middle of the day.
during the middle of the day, 4 o'clock.
God
At
damn.
4 o'clock.
What did
which is
they
wild.
rob?
A bodega, I think. They robbed the bodega.
Was it the bodega with the poisoned bologna?
I don't know, but I heard about that too. But over that was a boar's head recall. And then a bunch of things.
Oh, okay. That was
Yeah, that wasn't just bologna, right? That was all boar's head?
Yes.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Just boar's head.
Got myself an Italian combo yesterday.
Very nice.
Felt good.
Risky boy.
So, Michelle,
Yeah.
for the people that don't know you, we always would like to start with letting them know where you're from, how long you've been tattooing, what kind of tattoos do you do?
Originally, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and I moved to New York in 1989, and I own Daredevil Tattoo here on the Lower East Side. I started tattooing in 1991, and we opened up Daredevil when tattooing was legalized in New York City in 97. And I kind of tattoo everything. I mean, that's what you did when you started, when I did. And, you know, it's like we didn't have Instagram, so you did what came your way.
Amen.
Amen. So I learned about your work, actually. So I started tattooing in 2007. And in that year, a show by the name of Tattoo Wars came out. And I think that was the first ever thing that I saw like that. And I remember you had like an episode where you tattooed against Seth Safari.
Yep.
And
I remember that.
yeah, and that
I
was
remember that. I remember.
I don't remember this at all.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
This was good.
It was a
For its
pretty
time.
cool show.
Yeah.
It was a pretty cool show. There was
Yeah.
like a lot of really amazing artists, and it was cool. I
This
liked
came out in
it.
2007?
2007.
Was that before or after Miami Ink that came out?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
It was,
I'm not
it
sure
was
either.
very early, and I specifically remember I was at the New York City Tattoo Convention, and they were filming the episode with Mike Rubendahl and Bugs.
Yes.
Oh,
And
right.
I was just like, and I heard them describing the show, and I was just like, oh, that sounds terrible. That's my worst nightmare. and then they called me and were like, hey, would you be on the show? And I was like, yeah, great. You know.
That's good. That's good.
And overall, I mean, Daredevil is one of those like iconic New York tattoo shops that,
Oh, yeah.
you know, like people that when I first started tattooing, like Eli Quinters, like Seth Wood, Brad Fink, like, you know, and yourself were all working there, and they're all people that were like just ahead of the game. We're like,
yeah.
wow, these people are doing amazing work.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had, I mean, so many people come through the shop over the years. It's hard to keep track sometimes.
Right.
Like, yeah, like Grez and, you know, I mean, just so many people.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's been many years now. And so it's, yeah, lots of stories, lots of artists.
Needless to say, I want to say, like, for me, like, you know, like coming from a place where like I started tattooing in this like tiny shop, and having you like sit here and just have a conversation with us, it's like full circle for me, because I'm like, oh wow, like that's really cool that I just get to have you as a guest in like a podcast that,
Nice.
you know, and talking about tattoos, something that I'm super passionate about, and we all are. 'Cause
Yeah,
we do
sure.
this every week, just, you know, to try to not the point of this podcast has never been to like necessarily like educate people on anything about tattooing other than the passion, the love for it. And I think that if that's something that you learn to propagate, especially in a modern era where apprenticeships are not the same anymore, mostly for most people, and so many people are getting into tattooing without really talking to other people about, what's that one thing that like was magical about it at one point in time that a lot of people experienced, but over the years it's kind of gotten slowly.
Yeah, they're missing it now.
Yeah.
It's not
the same for everybody. I feel like it's still kept in pockets in tattooing, where they do cherish it and love it, but it's not something that's a common thing anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so weird because, when I first started out, it definitely wasn't something you did based on popularity. It was, people didn't even think it was a job. But I can't imagine what it's like starting out now, where it's just, you have people, even their parents are like, oh, my kid should be a tattoo artist.
Yeah,
which is
wild,
right?
I can definitely say when I started tattooing, there weren't any parents who thought their kid should be a tattoo artist.
Right, exactly.
So it's crazy. I had
Wow.
a thing happen. I had a lawyer for this case that was for the shop, actually, because we got sued once for like an access ramp kind of situation. And after all that was done, like the lawyer sent me a message, was like, hey man, like this is random, but like my nephew really wants to become a tattoo artist. I was like, this is crazy.
Should have been like, yeah, give me back all my lawyer fees and not teach your nephew how to tattoo.
Exactly.
Maybe that could have been good. But it's true. It's changed, so much. And so many, I feel like a lot of young people now want to just go straight into it. And they're like, I can just order a machine and buy it and then just order everything and just go. Why do I need to learn anything from anybody? And I feel like the people that get into it like that kind of lose sight of the big picture and of the craft and of like
Yeah, there's just no
the people that paved the way to make it be so you can just get to the point where we're at now.
Yeah.
I think a lot of those people starting out now with like the machines that they bought off Amazon or whatever without any kind of guidance, I think they're kind of only learning one type of tattooing. And, just in all the years I've been tattooing and just seeing the way that the trends move through the industry, it's like the tiny tats were such a thing, the really hyper fine line thing. And I think that was a little bit easier for people to figure out with the newer machines. And, they could figure it out during the pandemic when they were sitting at home tattooing out of their bedrooms or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like everything kind of has a shelf life in terms of like popularity. And a lot of these tattooers that have learned that way, it's like they don't know how to like pack color or do like large scale work and stuff like that. And, so I see some of that stuff as like job security. It's like people's gateway into getting tattooed. And then they start being like, oh, I want to get heavily tattooed. And, a lot of those people aren't equipped for that.
I agree.
Yeah, very true.
And I think overall, I think when people get tattooed, it's a good thing because they're going to keep getting tattooed most of the time, unless I have like a terrible experience.
Yeah.
And I think that the more people get tattooed and they get more comfortable with being tattooed, and most of all, I think like when people start, at least for me, when I started getting as soon as people started, I'm like, oh man, that looks really cool. I was like, man, I want more of these things that people think are really cool. I want more of these tattoos.
I've always thought it was kind of like when women started wearing slacks. Like it wasn't a trend; it just became acceptable.
Yes.
And there was kind of no turning back. And I think tattooing's sort of the same thing. It's like it because people it's funny. I'm a history person, and just the research I've done, it's like I see all these like old articles that I dig through and everything, and there's articles literally from like the early 1800s to now talking about the tattoo trend. And I'm like,
Wow.
is there anything else that you can think of that has been called a trend for the past like 200 years?
It's still a trend.
Yeah, incredible.
For sure.
After I got the chance to sit down with Matt and John on the Honest Tattooer podcast, the Force of Focus got amazing feedback when it comes to the Hello to Healed process, networking strategies, and most of all, creating your own personal brand and culture. So I want to give you the opportunity to take 15% off by coming to join the Force of Focus arena. Now, this is a community of high-achieving tattoo artists who are all here for one reason: to be around like-minded individuals who all want to grow not only in our personal lives, but within our businesses. We're going to walk with you side by side to build out every system you could ever imagine to not only only ensure the fact you're on the right path, but how to be able to see your dream life and then achieve it. Now, I have a laundry list of artists who have been able to achieve their dreams. And if you're ready to do the same, click the link below and let's get a conversation going.
Remember a few weeks back, we had Ed from Tattoo Armor on the podcast, and he was able to hook us up with a discount code for our followers. So Tattoo Armor is literally the best way to wrap your client. I've been using it, Matt's been using it, and it's just awesome. There's no mess, there's no glue, and it's just super comfortable. I hope you can try it for yourself and just go on to Tattoo Armor and use the code Honest Tattooer for 20% off your order. And talking about history, you have a tattoo museum.
Yeah, we moved to the location that we're at right now in, I think it was 2014. And when we moved down there, we were trying to figure out how to set up the shop. And my business partner, Brad Fink, has always been a really big collector of antique tattoo stuff. And so we decided to fill the shop with his collection. And we thought if any place should have a tattoo museum, it's definitely New York City and definitely the Lower East Side. And so we decided to turn our space into a museum. And we're right down the street from the Bowery. So I've done a lot of research on the early Bowery tattooers. And that's a huge part of our shop and a huge part of tattooing for me.
What kind of stuff do you have in there?
Awesome.
The collection is really significant. Brad doesn't just collect, like you'll see a lot of collections, people might just have like a lot of stuff, but Brad has very carefully curated his collection, and we really have like stuff that represents the most important figures in tattooing, in modern American tattooing, like we have one of the Edison pens that the very first electric tattoo machine patent was based off of. We have original artwork from Samuel O'Reilly. We have, a whole case of stuff from Cap Coleman and tons of Burt Grimm stuff. I mean, we have like the Sundancer, the original Sundancers in our shop, for these beautiful Burt Grimm back pieces. We have a few pieces from George Burchett. And our focus, though, is really New York City tattooers. And so we have artwork from, in addition to O'Reilly, Millie Hall and Lou Alberts and Apache Harry and, all these old like Bowery tattooers.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So in relationship to the people tattooing in the shop, where is all that stuff located within the building?
Throughout the whole shop.
So as you just walk around, it's just kind of up on the walls, or like it's not dedicated to one area?
Yeah, everything in our shop is original antique flash.
Oh, that's awesome.
And, people are all welcome to come, check it out. We don't charge people or anything. And, we have cases through the whole shop that feature all this stuff. And so it's pretty cool to be working next to this kind of history and to have people come in and pick stuff off our walls where it literally lives on,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's great.
Before we started, you gave me this really, really cool map. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Well, we'll probably have like shots of it. Like,
Yeah.
When we moved down to where we are, I thought it would be cool to research the old Bowery tattooers and to like make a map, like showing where all those guys were working. And I think the coolest thing about drawing up that map was that even people who know like a lot about tattoo history were shocked when they saw like how many tattooers were working just in that like little tiny stretch of, the Bowery from Chatham Square up to Canal Street. And I mean, that's probably like version 10 of the map because I'm always finding like new names and, and I tried.
Yeah, check it out.
I tried to go back to like, as far back as I could go, which was the first professional tattooer in the United States was Martin Hildebrandt. And he was first listed as tattooing in the New York City Directory in 1858.
Wow. Ooh, wow, that's wild.
Bars and brothels lined the Bowery.
They did.
Yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And did I overhear? Would you give tours of like some of these?
Yeah, I'm a licensed New York City tour guide, and the funny thing about that is that the tour guide test is really hard. It took me like 6 months to study for it versus the tattoo test,
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
which is really easy. So that's probably the most striking thing about being a
That's wild.
licensed New York City tour guide. It took me months of studying to pass that test. But yeah, usually I do them through like Airbnb experiences. They launched this thing and they came to us and asked if we would be involved. And so we were part of the launch of Airbnb experiences. And I usually do them on Fridays. And it's fun because, we get people from all over the world that come in, come for the tours and, a lot of tattooers. And sometimes I'm kind of like, oh God, I can't believe I have a tour today. I got to get to the shop early. But then, I have to say that people are they're so into it and people really respond well to it. And, and I make these connections with people and people are so appreciative of it to actually walk down that street and see where all these guys worked. And I'm working on a book of New York City tattoo history. And I have to say that doing the tours has really helped me to tell that story and to put together that narrative of these guys that were working and, and to explain people what New York City was like back then. And, because I'm equally passionate about the history of New York and the Lower East Side. And to me, it's fascinating, how those two are connected and how I feel like the two have really grown up with each other together, the Lower East Side, the Bowery, and tattooing. Both of them came out of these like rough and tumble roots, and the Bowery was very disreputable, just like tattooing was. And here we are today, and tattooing is completely mainstream, and the Bowery has luxury hotels and condos.
It's wild. It's changed so much. Even so our first shop was actually on the Bowery, and we were on Bowery between Grand and Hester. And even that was in 2016. And even from 2016 to 2021, when we left to come be here, there were so many changes that happened just in that little short stint. Like I remember when we were there, they started discussing and we started seeing the posters that they were like, oh, that we're going to build the big movie theater, Essex Market, and all of the stuff that was there. And all of those condos that are over here on the Lower East Side now weren't there. And they were like, oh, we're going to revamp this area. And we're like, oh man, once that's there, everything else is going to change with it. And it sure has. It's wild.
Yeah, I started tattooing. I moved to Ludlow Street and it was like right at the end of 1993. And it was a completely different animal. And you guys are on Orchard Street now. And the funny thing is, like, I used to walk my dog on Orchard Street because it was so quiet at night. There wasn't one store open, like not one.
Huh.
And I would go down, because there was like Max Fish and Pink Pony. Yeah. And, and so that Ludlow kind of had a little bit of a scene over there. And, and you had El Sombrero with the frozen margaritas to go. And so Ludlow was, kind of like had a little bit happening even, in the early 90s, but like Orchard Street, nothing was open. And and then I started seeing Orchard slowly change, and now it's like, it's a party outside.
It's a party outside all
Yeah.
the time.
It's a rowdy street now.
I've always liked the energy though down here. There's something about it.
LES, yeah, it's got something to it.
It's crazy too.
I'm sure it's not the same, but it's still got a little something.
I still, I moved out to Williamsburg, I guess 4 or 5 years ago, and because I got a crazy deal. But I have to say, it just does not have the flavor of the Lower East Side.
I agree.
From Grand to Houston, granted it's only a couple of blocks, but like it's nonstop. Everybody's outside partying.
It's
like,
kind of insane.
When I walk out of here to my car, I feel like I just grab a drink and just hang out.
For a while, they would call it Hell Square because of how many bars there were in this little area. And now it's been renamed Dime Square.
Yeah, Dime Square.
That's the whole jam now. Is
Dime
Square.
Yeah. That Dime Square area, there's so many really nice restaurants and bars in that little block. And whenever you go by there, it's just like people everywhere.
When we moved, even just 10 years ago, when we moved down there, people I had people were like, are you guys going to be okay down there? Because there isn't anything down there. And I'm like, okay, it's only 7 blocks from the old shop for one thing. The F train stops right there.
Yeah.
But people were just like, there isn't anything down there. You know, and now it's Times Square.
Now it's Times
this
Square.
whole thing.
Well, that was a good move.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a good-
it was funny because when we opened on Ludlow, like taxi cabs wouldn't even go below Houston because it was such like a raunchy area.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when we moved, somebody was asking us, like, after it turned into the whole Times Square thing, they were like, how did you guys know? Because Ludlow, the same thing happened. Then we moved down to Canal and Division where we are now. And then it turned into that whole scene. And so I don't know. I think we just moved where it was affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing about New York City, man.
Nothing's affordable now.
And
Like,
you
no.
literally, you can't even like choose the areas anymore. You just move to where it's affordable, and you're hoping that
it
a
can
decent
stick that way
Yeah.
for a bit.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
pushed out of Manhattan, and it really sucks because, you know, the creative community suffers. I mean, it used to be you could live on the Lower East Side and be some broke kid and, you know,
Yep.
get some crappy apartment and, you know, no credit checks, nothing like that. But now it's like, you know, you have to take out a bank loan to, you know, move into an apartment.
It's
and
risky just to
have
start up in anything.
co-guarantors and yeah.
Yeah.
I saw this video on YouTube where this guy was describing these super tiny apartments. It was like modern city tiny homes. And I'm like, you mean tiny tenement looking apartments in the
You mean a
Lower East
closet?
Side?
Yeah.
I know. It's like, it's not a tiny home, dude.
Yeah, it's all about rename. It's all about wordplay.
Rebranding.
Yeah, rebranding.
Let's rebrand this little tiny apartment. But it's like, man, really, really, really small.
Yeah, I've been looking for an apartment for a while now, and just seeing the broker babble terms that are on there are just kind of infuriating. Like what gets deemed a high ceiling now is just like, oh, you have windows, so therefore the ceiling must be high enough to accommodate a window. But it looks like I could touch it without even going on my tippy toes.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
It's the number of shower stalls or bathtubs right in the kitchen too. I've seen
Oh,
those.
yeah.
Those are
Old law
classic.
tenements.
Yeah. Man, I used to actually live right around the corner from Daredevil for a couple years on Henry Street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was a fun area. Yeah. Couldn't afford that.
So you started tattooing in 1991. What was the tattoo landscape like in 1991?
Oh, well, tattooing was illegal for one thing. So it was underground, but it wasn't enforced. So it wasn't like dealing drugs or anything. It was a health code violation. So I used to tattoo cops all the time, no problem. But I will say, like, back then, it's like everybody knew everybody. You knew who all, or at least you knew who all the other tattooers were in town. And, you know, maybe everybody didn't like each other, but everybody at least, you know,
They knew about each other.
Everybody
they knew about each other. And I mean, that was kind of, I mean, even just like the number of like tattooed women that were in New York City. I mean, I could probably count on my hands how many heavily tattooed women there were in the neighborhood. And I knew if there was one that I saw that I didn't know, it was like, oh, whoa, who is that? You know, and it was the weirdest thing if you know, because there was just definitely less than 10 of us. I mean, there was hardly any. So that's been a big change. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, and when I started tattooing, nobody I knew wanted it to be legalized because it really kept all of the competition out of the city. And so when I heard it was going to be legalized, I was like, oh no, now I have to open a shop.
Now we have to open up a store.
And
I
other
like-
people can open up shops. Where
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
that
oh,
was also, we knew that it really kept a lot of business out of the city because people didn't want to open up here if it was underground. And I mean, do you guys, pianos, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like my old shop I was upstairs from pianos.
Oh,
and
wow.
there's a loft space up there. I don't know if you've ever been to the second floor of
Yes.
pianos. That was my old loft I used to tattoo out of.
What?
And
That's wild.
except they were selling pianos downstairs.
So they were actually selling pianos down there.
I lived in the back and I tattooed in the front. And in the morning I would wake up and they were tuning the pianos downstairs.
That's wild.
that is wild.
And it was like the old thing, with the LES where you'd like yell upstairs and you throw the keys out out the window. Like, so I knew I couldn't have like a legal shop out of there. And I've known Brad since high school. And so he would come up and visit me and, work. And he was always like, oh, if you want to open a shop, let's, when they legalize it. And so that was what we did.
Cool.
What I want to know is, did you get any type of criticism for being a female tattooer back in those days?
I mean, I would say like for a long time, people didn't take me seriously. I definitely had a real sense of that, like if it would crack me up, like when people would come into the shop and they'd be like, oh, can I talk to the owner? And I'd like point them to our floor guy or whatever. But, what I found was that, initially it's like there was that sense that, people maybe didn't take me serious, but then in the long run, eventually that's what will set you apart,
right.
And
Of
so
course.
if you can kind of like manage to work past that, then it becomes maybe an asset in some ways.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so I think I, spent a lot of years, feeling kind of outside of a lot of things in tattooing, because it was mostly dudes hanging out and, and also like I've never been a drinker like in my life. And so much of tattooing was like the party dude, like hanging out thing. And so, that I didn't really have that to like connect too much. But I don't know, there came a part though when like I felt like my shop like really had its reputation that I had built. And that's when I really started to feel like much more comfortable, within tattooing, and I could, enjoy it.
Totally.
And enjoy the community. And I have to say that, it's treated me really well.
How long did that take, do you think?
I don't know, 10 years or so, 15 maybe.
I don't know. I feel like that's about right.
20, I don't know.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, probably everybody has that self-consciousness. But I know that it was a little bit weird. Like, I'd see like these books come out about tattooing and it'd be like, I'd look at the index just to see how many women were included and there'd be like none.
Yeah.
None. And, it might be like 100 tattooers in there and not one chick,
Wild.
Wow.
I would almost say that there's probably more female tattooers now than there are male tattooers, if not 50-50, but I kind of think that there's more.
I feel like I feel like you're right.
I would say at least apprentices. I think that there is a lot more female apprentices than male apprentices.
I would think so.
You walk around a convention and all the apprentices are women.
I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I've seen a lot of that too.
Yeah.
There's
I've
a lot
seen
of them. It's definitely much more evenly split.
It's a lot more.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that too. I'm going to
Sure.
agree with that. I'm
Yeah.
going to say it's
I'll-
equal.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just observing.
No. I mean,
It's-
I'll even admit that for a long time, it's like I didn't even want to have any women tattooing at my shop. Not that there were any women to hire at my shop, but I didn't want my shop to be seen as like a girl shop.
Right.
And that was something that I never wanted to market. I never wanted people to judge me based on that. And,
Okay.
but then eventually I did, finally a girl came in looking for a job and, Danielle DiStefano and I hired her and I was like, oh, this is awesome. We can go to tattoo conventions together and share a
That's
room.
great, yeah.
And then I hired, Claire Grez's wife. And then, I hired, and so then I had like a bunch of girls working and I'm like, oh, this is so much fun,
Like, this is what it is like. This is what these guys have been enjoying the whole time.
Yeah. To have that camaraderie.
That camaraderie. Yeah, absolutely.
Just sucked
But yeah.
sharing a bathroom with, four girls in one room.
Man. I have some questions. So I wanted to start this kind of segment where we ask some 10 honest questions for an honest tattooer. So we're going to run through them and some of them will be pretty easy to go. And we're going to set it off. So the first thing, what's the story?
Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh, you're going to go
Yeah.
hit it.
Say it again. Time for, right?
Time for 10 questions with an honest tattooer.
No, wait. Do it again. Wrong one.
Pretty good.
Oh, you won the jazz
The
breakdown.
jazz one. Yeah. Which one was
I
that?
know. I like the jazz. That's the metal section.
I got it. I know which one it is.
It's-
All right, do it again.
Okay. Now it's time for 10 questions with an honest tattoour.
God damn it! Which one is
I'm
it?
telling you.
sure.
I'm telling you. The first one was the one.
The sound, yeah. I think it's the top. Yes.
All right, do it again.
It's
Try it.
over. No. You messed it up already. It's
No,
done.
it's for the YouTube. It's for the YouTube.
It's for the YouTube algorithm. Now it's time for 10 questions with an honest tattooer. That feels just right.
That was it.
I like
Sixth
it.
try.
All right, I wasn't expecting that.
So, number 1, what's the story behind the first tattoo that you either gave or received?
Well, everybody likes my story about my first tattoo that I got. I've told this story before, but it's a good one. I really like the Black Panthers on the wall with the blood coming out of the claws. and
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
The classic Black Panthers. But when I went in to get my first tattoo, I only had $25. So I ended up getting a little black cat on my shoulder instead. It was in Texas. And it turned out that, and I only know this because I saved the business card, but it turned out the guy who tattooed me was Richard Stell.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And he had a gun in his belt, and he was wearing a shirt that said "Don't mess with Texas." And halfway through the tattoo, he asked me if I was 18, and I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he was like, "Well, if you're not, don't tell anyone where you got this." And I was like, "Okay."
Oh,
So
boy.
good.
That's good. That's good.
That is a great tattoo story.
Okay.
Good one, right?
Absolutely.
Number 2, if you weren't tattooing, what career would you pursue and why?
I mean, now I feel like this is absurd because, my husband's a mechanic and I know how far I am from that. But I used to like to work on cars, and I was into that. I don't know.
I remember in your guys' webpage, you guys had a really, really cool, like, kind of hot rod.
Yeah, that's my Riviera.
That's yours?
I'm sorry. I sold that one. That was a 66, and now I have a 64 Riviera.
Oh, that car is so
I know, that was
beautiful.
We blew out the tire right after that shot was taken. And it was right. Okay, so this is the craziest thing. That was for the second issue of Inked magazine.
Okay.
And my friend Dale May shot the photo. He was a friend of mine I went to college with, and an incredible photographer. And he actually, I'm sorry, not Dale May, Devlin Mayhem. Or no. He has several aliases. He's shot like tons of covers for Mickey Violetto's, magazine and stuff. And so you've seen his work. And so it was the very, very first time Dale had ever shot with digital film. And that's how long ago it was. So this was like maybe 15 years ago or so.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we shot that at the bottom of South 5th Street in Williamsburg, right next to where Domino Park starts,
Yes, that little under.
next to the bridge.
Yes.
And
yes.
so we did this old hot rod trick where you dump bleach on the tires to get them to smoke.
Oh.
And because my husband's in that shot, and he was in there doing burnouts, and so like all the smoke you see, that was not photoshopped in. That was actually my tires,
burning tires,
lighting up, and then and so like the tire like blew out right after that shot, and to this day, there's 2 marks in the pavement from the burnouts from my car.
Rad.
Cool.
Awesome.
It's like, yeah,
Awesome.
it's still there.
That's cool.
Like 15 years ago.
Freaking awesome.
Nice.
Okay. Number 3, what's one piece of advice that you would give yourself when you started? Time machine, you can go back, leave a little piece of paper for yourself.
My advice would be to listen to my mother. She like used to nag me all the time about saving money, and she was like, I would aggravate me so much because she would come into my shop and be like, "Hey, check out my cool tattoo shop," and she'd be like, "Yeah, that's great. Did you put any money in that Roth IRA that I opened for you?" I wish I would have listened to her because I did not save my money as a young tattooer. As most young tattooers don't save their money, and I wish I would have.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all did stupid stuff with our money.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of old tattooers that don't do anything with their money.
It's universal.
Man.
Cash in hands, like,
Yeah.
So, guys, we apologize for the sounds if they come through.
We got
The
some we
construction?
got some remodeling happening upstairs.
That's the construction.
That is a construction. So,
They're cutting pipes out.
before I came back down, I was looking through the hole and I could see the person's floor upstairs through the hole.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, man.
Good old tenements.
Yes. Oh, man. Okay. Question number 4. Can you share a moment in your career that was a turning point for you?
Maybe when we moved to where we are now, we bought our property.
That's awesome.
That was a really good turning point. I wish that's what I tend, if I could go back, I wish I would have not paid rent for all those years and would have tried to buy something earlier, because it sucks working for your landlord.
Yes.
That's how I feel right now when I'm trying to I'm trying to purchase now.
Yeah, talk about lighting money on fire.
Oh, yeah.
But the flip side to that, if you owned it, you'd be responsible for what's going on upstairs right now.
Yeah.
It's funny,
That is true.
funny you should say that, because I just got hit with a special assessment on my building.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
I know about
Surprise.
that
All right. This one's a good one. Coils or rotaries?
too. Oh, coils, obviously.
Loyal to the
Loyal
coil.
to the coil.
What are your favorite coil machines?
Right now my daily drivers are, I got this awesome liner from,
It sounds just like that.
We got some coil machines up there, guys. So just in case anyone's wondering.
from Davidad, and he's a tattooer from Milan. He goes by Italian Rooster.
Oh, okay.
And,
I haven't heard of his machines, but I'm always on the lookout
He's such a good tattooer. His paintings are really cool. And I met Davidad at the first London convention, and we were sitting next to each other. He didn't speak any English, and now he does speak English. He's such a sweetheart. And I did the Frankfurt convention, and I bought one of his machines from him. And
Cool.
then my shader that I've been using is from Rich T at the Ohio Tattoo Museum. Gifted it to me on our
Nice.
anniversary, and
Cool.
That's awesome.
My two
That
favorites
is
right now.
cool.
All the coil guys are like, oh, yeah, those are
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, man. It's so terrible.
You left that train. You left that station.
I know,
it's
dude.
cool because they're, these are handmade. And
Absolutely.
exactly.
I still have a bunch of coil machines. I just don't use them.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there really pretty.
I mean, Davidad engraved mine for me.
That's
and it
awesome.
has
That's cool.
So much character.
I got a couple. I can totally relate to that because I got a couple machines that are just one-offs with engraved figurines and stuff, and it's real special.
Rich stamped the one that I use as a shader. It's Rich stamped Daredevil 20 years in it for
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
for a 20th anniversary. He gifted it to me.
That's really nice. Yeah, that's magic.
Yeah.
Did you hear in that Flagrant podcast episode that you were showing me that at one point they said loyal to the soil? I forgot what they were referring to.
Oh my goodness.
They were talking about the ground. Yeah, it was loyal to the soil, guys.
Loyal to the soil guys. That's good.
Yeah. I love my coil machines. I love my coil machines.
Yeah. When I was tattooing earlier today with all the construction going on and the buzz saws going off, I couldn't hear my coils over
Oh,
that. And
I was going to ask you, I was like, did you feel like a man at work? With your coil machine going too?
I felt like, wow, this must be what it's like when you go and guest spot at a shop where all they use are rotary pens and you bring the coils and
This is so loud.
That's usually me.
I like a machine that if it stops, you can make it go,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next one.
Yeah.
What's your favorite subject matter to tattoo?
Probably traditional.
Traditional?
Yeah, I love traditional.
Anything within traditional? I think you mentioned that you love big cats.
I just any of the really iconic stuff is just built for tattooing to me.
Yeah.
I
Agreed.
love that kind of stuff.
If you could change one thing about the tattoo industry, what would it be?
Get rid of the internet.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
Gabe's eyes
Who am I
just lit
talking
up.
to right now? That was one of my responses a long time ago. I was like, I would completely make the internet disappear.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Instagram is just really warped tattooing in
Yeah.
It really has.
so many
It does,
weird
it
ways.
does.
I mean, it's just weird to me that how much people curate their, tattoos for their Instagram. And I don't know, to me, that's just not how I tattoo.
Yep.
I agree.
Me neither.
And what's your favorite way to unwind after a long day of tattooing?
I mean, I got my dogs,
Oh,
2 dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's probably walking my dogs. Well,
Yes,
actually,
solid.
one of my dogs is really neurotic now, and so that's not as fun as it used to be. He's on Prozac. We're working on it.
oh, we're good.
Oh boy. Oh buddy.
And number 9, what's your favorite topping on your pizza?
I know this is like terrible, but I'm so over pizza. I mean, if I never had
Come on, what kind of New Yorker are you?
That's fine. That's fine.
That's unacceptable.
Never had another slice of pizza. If I never had another gyro, if I never, had another bagel, I'd be cool. No. Yeah, for me, it's matcha latte.
Matcha latte.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm hooked on matcha lattes.
Oh, man.
I like
Man.
chai lattes too.
Chai lattes are great.
Yeah, those are good.
The green stuff.
Yeah.
I like that bean juice, bro. I want coffee all day, every day.
I never
Yeah.
drank a cup of coffee in my life.
Never ever?
Whoa.
What?
No, never drank a beer in my life.
Wow.
Wow.
Impressive.
Not even a sip.
I've sipped it.
Okay.
Just a taste and you're like,
Yeah,
this is
you're
gross.
like-
I just like,
Yeah, I can't get into this.
I was a hardcore punk, or what do you call it? Straight
Straight edge.
punk
Straight edge.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I'm with you on the coffee. I've tried coffee so many times and I just don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
just
just not for me.
never
Yeah,
developed a taste.
I know what
Yeah.
side you're on. You're on the side like that, or just like I don't understand it. It tastes like dirt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I get it.
Loyal to the soil.
Loyal to the soil.
There's just something about it that it's like.
Those Dunkin' refreshers is where I'm at. Those green tea Dunkin' refreshers, man.
And the very last question, who's an artist? It could be a tattoo artist, it could be a fine artist, any form of artist that has very much inspired you to kind of pursue this or in any kind of way.
I mean, honestly, really, probably the artist who's had the most influence on me is my business partner, Brad Fink. I mean, he's such an incredible tattooer, and he's always just had this way of tattooing that doesn't look like anybody else. And
Absolutely.
he's
That's
always
true.
so far ahead of just where most people were at with tattooing, and his work ethic with how he draws and stuff. Brad's he's had a huge influence on me.
I think that's one of the hardest things in tattooing is to develop that voice of your work and see it very really
I'm still working on it.
identifiable. Like, you're like, oh, that's like that person,
Yep.
Yeah. Like from Philly, Dave Fox, has like a very distinct look to his work that you're like, oh, that's Dave Fox,
Yeah.
You know what I'm starting to understand why that is? Those artists are actually drawing their own designs, where the people who might not have a distinct style, they're either collaging or they're like looking at references from so many different people, whereas the people who have their own recognizable style, they're just drawing it on the fly, and like it's very eminent that okay, he drew this without having any outside influences.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always really liked, like Bob Roberts, Mike Malone. I got.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They just, to me, everything they drew, they just nailed it. It was just so perfect.
Yeah, it was
So-
good
so
drawings.
dialed
It was,
in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, I
That's true.
love big cats, and I was asking you about who did that tiger on your arm because I'm like, that is a really good front on tiger face.
Yeah, I mean, I got like this Candy Everett. Like she always did the best pinups, and
It's solid too.
yeah, totally.
And I guess I have a question. What advice would you give to somebody who's owns a shop, who's dealing with things all the time? I feel like that's the one thing of like, I don't know that many like tattoo shop owners that have been doing it for a very long time. If you had any piece of advice.
I mean, it sucks basically.
So universally across the board, that's like, most people are like, don't do it. Don't open it. Don't open it.
You know, somebody, I don't know, I met somebody and they're like, oh, how long have you had your business? And I'm like, oh, I don't know, 20. It's like, now I can't do math, you know, but it's like, we're like, I think 27 years or something now. And someone's like, oh my God, that's so cool. I'm like, yeah, it sucks. You know? I mean, I love my shop and I love the artist in my shop. I love tattooing and I love this history that we are, you know, in charge of, that, you know, we're the caretakers for, and
Definitely.
I adore all that. But man, I hate the business stuff. You
It's
know?
really
And
hard.
How many artists do
always
you have working for you?
Always something.
I think we got like 7 right now, 8. I don't know, something like that.
And what's the most you've ever had working for you at one time?
I don't know, more than that. It's, you know, a lot. Because I used to own, we bought Fun City in 2004, and then we sold it to Big Steve in 2014 when we moved down to where we are now. Because, you know, since we were buying that space, we really wanted to put everything into it. So when I had 2 shops, I mean, that was like back when, you know, Eli and, you know, all those guys were working. Yeah, we had a lot of tattooers then. And I hated it. I hated having 2 shops, you know, because it was like, you know, the thing I hate the most is all the business stuff. And so it was like,
It doubles the business.
yeah,
stuff.
having to do all the business
Absolutely.
stuff twice. I was just like, oh, screw this. You know,
Yeah, that
I'm just not
sucks.
that type. I mean, some people are so good at that, or they have a business partner who's good at that. And I think if there's probably the biggest problem with me and Brad's partnership is we're both exactly the same. Like, oh, we just want to buy old Flash and, you know, and like look at it.
Same strengths and weaknesses.
Yes,
Like,
exactly. I mean, we're just, you know, we're like both, you know, like these addicted collectors of antique tattoo stuff. And, you know, we're both good at the same things, and we both hate numbers and, you know, all that stuff. But
I can't agree more.
it's the worst. It's
Yes, it's the worst. You know,
I didn't
like-
become a tattooer because I'm good at bookkeeping.
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a question for you. Have you ever, and if yes, how many artists have you had to fire?
I mean, you know, a lot.
A lot?
I mean, yeah, there's been enough, you know. I
Yeah.
mean,
Any particular good reason and spicy reason for any of them?
oh yeah, there's been some good ones, but I mean, if I have advice for anyone, I will say that it's a lot easier to hire someone than it is to fire them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
Absolutely.
My favorite breakup line is, "This isn't working out."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like the one thing that I've learned in the past few years is to learn to embrace change, and know that, you know, things are going to change slowly over time. And, you know, over no matter what, the people that are meant to stick around and grow with you are going to stick around and grow with you. You know?
At this point, I'm so numb to that, you know, I mean, because I've really learned my lesson not to get too attached to people, because really people are going to do their own thing, you know, and it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, it's not personal
at all. I mean,
Yeah.
and as they should, you know, and it's just like, you know, people might want to go have babies in the suburbs, and, you know, and
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like, you can't take it personal, you know, it's like people are going to come and go. And so I'm just like totally not phased, you know, when it's time for them to move on for whatever reason, because it's just, you know,
Life.
you know, we don't own them, you know, and it's
Yeah,
like people
absolutely.
are going to do, you know, their own thing, you know, but, yeah, no, it's just, I don't know. It's like, I love the personal dynamics of the shop. You know, I love these people that, you know, I've gotten to be friends with and close with, that I've gotten to, like, you know, learn from and stuff by working with them, you know, but yeah, it's just that business stuff is the worst.
Absolutely.
It really does look like it sours everything else, you know. Or just unnecessary stress. And
I just want to do tattoos, and you know, and it's like, and hang out with my buddies, you know, and I think if anything, if there's a reason not to open a tattoo shop, it's that, because it's not fun. I mean, someone I knew, like, they had bought not even bought. I think someone gave them a second shop, and I was talking to, and they're like, "Oh man," and I'm like, "Oh, what's the matter? You're not a millionaire yet?" It's like, especially in New York City. I mean, the minute you start getting ahead, your lease is going to be up, and then you're screwed. And it's like, so yeah, you put all this into like this space, and it's like either you lose your lease or they're going to raise your rent 50%, and it's like, they have you right where they want you, because it's like it's going to cost you so much money to move, and now here we are, even just like owning the space that we're in. It's like I got this special assessment that's terrible,
comes out of nowhere.
So it's always something.
Yeah. I was talking to Matt about that the other day. I was like, yeah, I just got a letter in the mail. They're like, yeah, dude, these are your real estate taxes, and all of a sudden, like, like whatever you were paying before, it's up by like 20%.
Oh, like that. You're lucky they don't send you a bill for I know people got billed for $40,000 for that, out of the blue.
Out of the blue.
So it's like New York City is tough. I mean, New York's, it's like I'll go visit people in other states, like, like I'm from Missouri, and it's like you go there and people have nice houses and this like huge shop.
Like, yeah, we bought this building.
And I'm just like, oh, this is why people live other places.
Absolutely.
What's difficult about that too is that someone, let's say, coming from Missouri, let's say they never been to New York City and they want to get tattooed by one of the artists here, and they're so taken back by, oh my God, they charge that much money for a tattoo. Like, this is the reason why.
No, it's everything. I mean, somebody said to me, like, they were like, oh, I'm down by your shop. I'm next door at the overpriced coffee shop. I'm like, they're not overpriced. I'm like, their rent is overpriced. I'm like, you think they're getting rich? They're not getting rich. Nobody's getting rich.
Man, dude,
rich here.
I got a sandwich at Subway today. Dude, a sandwich and a soda. How much do you think?
$17.
Almost $19.
At Subway.
Subway.
Almost $19.
That $5 foot long is long gone.
Yeah, dude.
So you're eating garbage, and it was $19.
And it was
still $19.
And that's why I went there. I went there because I thought I was going to get a cheap sandwich for like really quick. And boy, I was taken back.
I know.
Once they got Jared out, they got the cheap out of the Subway too.
I mean, it's so crazy in New York that landlords will sit on an empty space rather than rent it for a decent price.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Nope. They rather just be like, nah.
Yeah, we'll just knock it off our taxes.
Yeah. I'll take the loss.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. No one's getting rich in New York besides the people.
The landlords.
Unless they're already
the owners.
rich.
Yeah.
I mean, not even the landlords.
No, sometimes they don't.
Some of these people have these buildings since, like, when, I mean, you used to be able to buy a building on the Lower East Side for $1.
Shut up.
If you paid the back taxes.
Oh my goodness.
This was in the 90s,
In the 90s.
know? And so it's like, that's why, if I could give myself that letter back when I started, buy a building.
Buy a building. Buy a building right now for $1.
Oh my goodness. That is so sweet.
You know, Jacob Astor? The story. Do you know what his
last dying words were? I wish I would have bought more property in Manhattan.
Yep. Scrooge McDuck right till the end.
Yeah.
Can't say he wasn't right.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. The robber barons. And the rich will always get richer. I mean, that's just the deal.
Yeah.
I saw this one documentary where I think it was like the daughter of one of the guys who started like either like Walmart or something like that. And she said, the funny thing about money is the more you have of it, you can just put it in a room, close the door, and then you can come back later, open it. There'll be more in there.
How does that work?
Because the more money you have, the faster that money will multiply itself without you doing really much, That's why, like, there was like this video with like Schultz explaining that you need like 25 million right now to have fuck you money. Fuck you money being that 25 million will generate you about like 1.5 million a year without you doing absolutely nothing.
All right.
Well, damn.
I know. I was like, oh, he did the math, the whole like calculation of like why that is the number. And I was like, that's insane.
So how many tattoo shops would you need to own to get
you're not getting
that not gonna happen.
Shops.
That's not gonna hit it from a tattoo shop. You get 25 million headaches. It's not gonna happen. Definitely, I always say that any chance I get to any young person, invest your money as quick as you can, as early as you can start.
Yeah, that's what I would have told myself.
Totally. I mean, I remember years when I first met my husband, he's in construction. He got some like big job. And it was when my mom was hounding me about these Roth IRAs. And I told him like, hey, put $5,000 into that. And it's like, now I think it's like an absurd amount of money how much just that $5,000 turned into. And he's like, what do you mean it's that much? You know? And I'm like, remember my mom hassling me?
We listened to her.
We should have listened more.
Absolutely. Man. Wow.
That was good.
That was good.
Yeah.
Michelle, thank you so much and hanging out with us today.
Yeah.
I think if you're in New York City, you should definitely stop by Daredevil. Go check out the Tattoo Museum. And if you go on Airbnb, do one of the Airbnb experiences.
Absolutely.
Oh, also, is this this podcast coming out soon?
Yeah, Monday. It's going to come on Monday.
Oh, so if you guys could share on social media and let everyone know that there's a skull show right now from the Lyle Tuttle collection that's right next to the shop at 1 Ludlow. Mm-hmm. And it's up until August 16th. And cool. Danielle, who's the caretaker of the Lyle Tuttle collection, has done this amazing show of skull tattoos.
Cool.
And it's a bunch of antique flash from, all the favorites, and it's 3 whole floors.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah, some amazing machines and stuff, and all from Lyle's collection. And it's open on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays till the 16th. And I curated a art show at the City Reliquary that's called Liberty the Tattooed Lady. Mm-hmm. And it's all antique tattoo flash of Lady Liberty tattoos.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
very,
that
very
also
cool.
is on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. It's in Williamsburg, and it's this, the City Reliquary is like this little museum that's all like New York ephemera. And it's small, but it's like jam-packed with stuff. And I went and visited Dana and Dot Brunson in Cincinnati, and they loaned me a bunch of stuff from their collection. I got some stuff from Timmy Tats and also from the Lyle Tuttle collection. Chewy sent me, some really nice pieces, and there's some incredible stuff in that too. So.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's very
there's
cool.
some good tattoo stuff to look at, the next couple. Well, the Liberty shows up until January, but for the next couple of weeks, the Lyle Tuttle show is up.
Yeah.
So get out and see it. Definitely don't miss it.
Guys, if you're in town, go get out and see that. And most of all, thank you, Michelle, for keeping tattooing tradition alive and preserving it, because there needs to be more people like you keeping it alive.
Absolutely.
Cool.
For sure.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to thank our Patreon supporters because I forgot to do that last week.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to thank specifically Rich Nielsen. Where are you? Rich Nielsen and Stephanie Cooper Tattoo. And there was one more that I deleted by accident, but there's somebody else. Thank you very much, too. If you want to be like those guys and help support the show, go to patreon.com/honest-tattooer. Select the tier that's right for you. We haven't done much of an after show lately.
Yeah.
John's going to be putting some content up there. I think Mr. Buck is going to be putting some content up there.
Oh, yeah.
How to draw certain things, and just might be, maybe I'll put something on there, too. If you would like to contribute, maybe you can draw some traditional stuff.
Yeah, I can do some.
We just have to record him when he's drawing on paper.
Yeah.
You know what? On second thought, I don't know if I want to teach anybody my trick, but
You have to pay extra for.
They're going to see me drawing some shapes, and he's like, "Oh, that's how."
Gabe, you should draw a gate.
A gate. Yeah.
The gate that you're keeping up.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, patreon.com/honest-tattooer. Check it out.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.
Peace.
Cool.